What's going on, guys? This is your boy John, the Liquidator, coming back with another video. So it looked like Caitlin Clark is opening up about the Fever defense and pretty much her style of defense moving forward. Now, we know the Indiana Fever is pretty much a defensive-based team. Stephanie White focused heavily on the defense last year, and hopefully we get a 2026 season, man. There really just has not been any leg room with this CBA negotiation. Now, Caitlin Clark has been making her rounds online as well, making headlines after saying different things about current events that has been happening. And this is what I like to see from Caitlin, man. I really like to see her online engaging.
It was a public call-out. The internet erupted, and the silence from the Indiana Fever front office was impossible to ignore. Caitlin Clark, the league's unquestioned offensive powerhouse, appeared to take a direct shot at her own coaching staff, igniting a controversy that now threatens to fracture the team from within. This wasn't a behind-closed-doors moment. It was a blunt, unfiltered message broadcast to the world, exposing a stunning disconnect at the core of Indiana's game plan. Almost instantly, speculation swirled about how long a superstar of her caliber can tolerate an environment where her generational talent seems constrained by a mismatched coaching philosophy. This isn't a harmless remark. It's a seismic moment, one that could unravel everything.
Making headlines after saying different things about current events that has been happening. And this is what I like to see from Caitlin, man. I really like to see her online engaging with fans, engaging with other athletes, because it really helped the genre and really keep her hype alive. We know lately, previously, she was kind of quiet on, for example, the national championship football game is today, and Caitlin Clark commented and reposted a TikTok about Indiana wide receiver Elijah, who revealed he named his dog CC after Caitlin Clark, showing love and support for the Indiana Hoosiers this upcoming.
The unmistakable target of Clark's bold remark was Brianna January, an assistant coach widely respected for her legendary defensive instincts. A 7-time WNBA all-defensive selection, January had shared a post about developing young players, highlighting demanding defensive drills. Clark reshared it with a sharp caption. "I know she had these poor kids just doing defensive slides for hours." In an instant, what seemed like a harmless exchange became a revealing glimpse into a deeper philosophical divide within the organization. This wasn't lighthearted teasing. It was a franchise star openly challenging the core principles of her team's coaching strategy, and it sparked an immediate firestorm.
She's named after CC. Now, Caitlin Clark, we all know, went to Iowa, and Iowa been killing it right now in women's basketball, but she's starting to show love, man. Indiana is really starting to grow on her. She said, "Hope he scores 3 touchdowns Monday night." Big Indiana fan Monday night. So Caitlin Clark let the world know she's going to be a big Indiana fan this upcoming Monday night. So this is the dog right here, CC, and I think it's dope. I think it's dope that they're working together. I think it's dope that Caitlin Clark is actually acknowledging the Indiana college football team. Now, she did speak about the Bears, which is crazy because I'm actually in Chicago.
This public challenge was not an isolated moment. It exposed a deeper philosophical conflict within the Indiana Fever organization. Head coach Stephanie White has long built her teams around a defense-first identity. But for an offensive force like Clark, whose brilliance depends on tempo, spacing, and creative freedom, that rigid emphasis can feel constricting. The tension between a transcendent offensive talent and a system rooted in defense has been quietly brewing, and Clark's remark tore the curtain away. It's a fundamental misalignment, one that creates an unsustainable reality for any player, especially for an athlete whose influence on the sport is already historic.
Focus for the Fever coach. So basically, Clark could be calling out Stephanie White, man. Caitlin Clark has joked about one of her Indiana Fever coaches' emphasis on defense, bruh. It's stated it's hard to poke holes in Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark game. Despite being just 23 years old, she is one of the most talented offensive weapons in all of basketball, men's or women. I repeat, that is men's or women's, when she's healthy and able to compete. Now, we do know Caitlin Clark went down in July, and we have not seen Caitlin Clark on a basketball court.
Clark's sharp remark carried extra weight because her own defense has long been a focal point for critics. Fans and analysts alike have questioned her effort on that end of the floor, pointing to lapses in awareness and easy scores conceded, often masked by her offensive brilliance. That reality only heightens the tension when her coaches appear fixated on the very area where she's most vulnerable. It creates an uneasy dynamic, one that raises legitimate questions about whether the staff is maximizing her strengths or, through rigid adherence to philosophy, unintentionally spotlighting her weaknesses.
Women's, when she's healthy and able to compete. Now, we do know Caitlin Clark went down in July, and we have not seen Caitlin Clark on a basketball court since July, bruh. I just gotta be honest. A lot of people have definitely been feeling a type of way about that, dealing with these negotiations, dealing with us possibly seeing Caitlin Clark. Will we see her? A lot of fans have invested their life into this young lady. Even me, you know what I'm saying? Just reporting on her every day. It'll just be doing us a disservice if Caitlin Clark is not able to play for the 2026 season. But the article...
Adding another layer to this growing storm is Clark's history with turnovers, a statistic that shadowed her early WNBA career. Critics, including high-profile voices like Skip Bayless and Jason Whitlock, have repeatedly pointed to how those mistakes often came at a heavy cost to the team. That issue risks being amplified in a system that doesn't fully embrace her instinctive decision-making or adjust to her fast-paced, high-risk, high-reward style. When a player's offensive brilliance is both scrutinized and restrained, frustration becomes inevitable, and a public call-out starts to feel less like a surprise and more like an outcome waiting to happen.
That Caitlin Clark is the perfect basketball player. She sometimes forces things that aren't there. Now, if you guys don't remember, Caitlin Clark was leading the WNBA in turnovers for quite some period of time. I believe Skip Bayless actually talked about this before before Undisputed was pulled off the air, how her turnovers was pretty much costly to the team. I remember we talked about this when I was on Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock was another person in the media space that kind of spoke about Caitlin Clark turnovers being an issue. Goes on to say, isn't a develop.
Brianna January's reputation as a defensive force is beyond dispute. Her standout WNBA career was built on elite, lockdown defense, earning her multiple all-defensive team honors. For Clark to publicly joke about January's defensive drills therefore carries real weight. It amounts to a challenge of a highly respected veteran coach's expertise. This goes far beyond a minor disagreement. It's a direct collision with the coaching staff's established defensive identity, raising serious concerns about alignment, mutual respect, and shared vision, especially as the franchise approaches the pivotal 2026 season.
On that article goes on to say, in fact, Clark has gotten some criticism from fans about being a loaf on defense in the past, which has led to her falling asleep at the end and allowing easy buckets. Most superstar players, besides like Kobe and Michael Jordan, typically don't play defense, man. Sometimes LeBron, you will see him running down the court beating balls off the hoop, but he loafs too, bro. It's just part of the game when you got offensive players like that. Steph Curry really ain't a big defender either. Goes on to say, it seems that she doesn't emphasize this component of her game, and this is surely to the charging of Brianna.
The Instagram post that ignited the controversy showed Brianna January working with young players, highlighting efforts to grow the game worldwide. On its own, the image was harmless, a snapshot of player development and mentorship. But Clark's swift repost, paired with a sarcastic remark about grinding through defensive slides for hours, transformed it into something far more pointed. This wasn't a private exchange or a subtle signal. It was a public statement delivered to millions, instantly turning a routine coaching moment into a viral flashpoint and casting the Indiana Fever's internal dynamics under an unforgiving spotlight.
Causing attention is a viral TikTok clip of a gentleman pretty much speaking about Caitlin Clark offense. Let's head on over to Twitter and pull this clip right here up, man. Shout out to Mike. He stated there is no offensive system superior than the basketball in Caitlin Clark's hand. That's why they ran, read, and react at Iowa. Also, the majority of half-court offenses should start with the screen and roll as their primary action with several options for secondary. Let's take a listen to this clip that he is captioning this off of here real quick if I can get this pulled up.